forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.
Every year around this time, we feel it. We've all been there, the pressure to do more, the pressure to change everything, the pressure to come up with a better version of ourselves by January 1st. And whether you love or you hate New Year's resolutions, listen, there's one thing we all need moving forward, and that's vision. Not hype, not pressure, not a long list of things we abandoned by February, if we're being honest, just vision. And today I want to offer a different starting point for your 2026, for your marriage, for your family, for your home. Not just 10 resolutions, not a massive overhaul either, because that's easy to get caught up in. And I'm not saying it's wrong. Do what works for you. But I want to encourage you, maybe try this one thing. Just get one word for yourself moving into 2026. You guys, welcome to the Kingdom Family Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velazquez, and I am really probably partial or biased about this topic and this conversation and this idea of New Year's resolutions. And I think part of it is because there is just a lot of almost unspoken or even spoken expectation that we all come up with this perfect and ideal New Year's resolution. New year, new me. We say all these things, and I'm not against them, I guess. Part of me at the root in my heart wants to make sure that we pause long enough to realize, wait a minute, what is maybe one thing, one word I can apply to my life this year to help me filter all the things I'm going to do moving forward? And it's not to narrow it down to one thing. It's just to have one word that helps us then navigate everything that's ahead of us, right? Because here's why most resolutions fail, or maybe some of the reasons why. And I've noticed this over the years, because most resolutions fail not because we're lazy. However, at times it could be that. It's because they're overloaded. There's so much that we tend to not be able to not accomplish them. It's just they're more than we should be shooting for maybe in a given year, because there's so many unforeseens that happen too, not just the things in our list. And too many goals or too many expectations, too much noise, all of those things come into play when we're talking about New Year's resolutions. You know, Andy Andrews, if you're not familiar with him, is a well-known author, speaker, an incredible, I just love him. Look him up if you're not familiar with him, Andy Andrews. But he's written many books. He's got an incredible story. And he talks a lot about how one decision can alter the entire direction of your life. Not 100 decisions, not constant redeciding either, but one clear, intentional decision consistently lived out. And I believe that's why a single word, a one word New Year's resolution can be a powerful thing to decide to do, because clarity always beats complexity. And I don't know about you, but there are plenty of things in this world, in this life, that are already complex enough. Heaven forbid we add one more thing or create our own complexity through some long laundry list of New Year's resolutions. And if that works for you, incredible. Do what works for you. I'm not here to discourage you. I just think this could help a lot of people when we start to understand the power of one word New Year's resolutions, right? And the idea of it is this. The idea or the power of one word is, I'm not picking a word because I want to have a slogan, right? I'm not trying to brand something. It's not so I can be trendy. It's not something that I can post one time and then just forget about it, right? It becomes a filter, and it filters everything then we do moving into 2026. And here's why I love the one word, because so often we get started, and because there's so many unknowns, unforeseens coming, circumstances, maybe we could call them, is that I can use that word in every circumstance, in every situation, to filter how I respond, to filter how you respond. And it filters what we say yes to or what we say no to. And it filters, why that would or wouldn't be a good decision, maybe based upon your goal. And so I can kind of use it as just a grounding point or a foundational starting point, and something to be in alignment with is a better way to maybe look at it. Craig Rochelle, well-known pastor, if you're familiar with the Bible app, then that's kind of the founder and the creator, him and his church and all of that. But Craig Rochelle says and often reminds us, that who you're becoming matters more than what you're achieving. And I think that that's a huge part of why New Year's resolutions are challenging, or any goal at any given time in our life, which is why New Year's resolutions kind of crack me up, because I think, why is it there's so much emphasis? Because we could take the same principle and mentality into every single day of our lives. But I digress. But what Craig Rochelle is reminding us of is that who we are becoming, again, is more important or matters more than what we achieve. Meaning, even if I achieve the goal, that's amazing. Kudos. But if I'm not necessarily becoming the person or developing the character in which I also should desire, then I think it's kind of a shallow goal, maybe. So one word helps us and helps you focus on who you're becoming as well. Not just what you're doing, not just what we're trying to accomplish. And that's huge, because as I say so frequently to my son, to my kids now, especially as they get involved in sports, the oldest has been in sports for a while, but I always tell them, character over talent. It's not no character and only talent, because I don't want him to not use his God-given gift of playing soccer, for example, which is what he plays. I just don't want him to score a goal, accomplish all of his goals and what he wants to do when it comes to soccer, but not develop his character. And so he can use that word character as his one word. How does this help my character? How does my character show up when I'm on the field? How does my character show up when I'm off the field? Am I using good character right now as I'm talking to, whatever it may be? You get the drift. And so that can so often shape us, right? One word can shape everything we do. When we choose one word intentionally, it shows up everywhere. It shows up in your marriage, in how we speak to one another, how we listen, how we forgive. It shows up in our family. Am I being patient, as husbands, as fathers, as wives, mothers, as parents? Am I being patient is tough. Am I being present? Am I actually listening to what my kids are saying or asking, right? How is it showing up in my leadership inside the four walls in my home, right? Is the one word I choose, is that foundational for how I'm creating a good atmosphere inside the four walls, inside the home? Not just rules, right? Not just the rules that we reinforce or enforce, I should say, but am I actually creating a good atmosphere through the one word I use? This is why kingdom family movement, right, always comes back to alignment. It's always coming back to God's original intent, to the alignment of the truth of what he wants for us. And I'm going to come back to that, because there's something powerful that happened in our family, or it hasn't happened yet, but we talked about it and the importance of why I think it is so powerful. Of course, very biased, but either way, whatever. But truth over what's easy, right? It's choosing conviction over comfort. It's presence over busyness. It's faith over fear. Whatever your one word is. And let me just say this now so I don't forget, because I'm going to speak to this again in a little bit, but I'm going to say it now, is take time. Don't just, maybe you already have a word, but take a minute. Ask God what your word is. What is the one word he wants you to focus on? And for me personally, going into 2026, the word is stewardship, right? And so if I back up a little bit to what I was saying, if I'm going to choose truth over what's easy, that means, how do I steward what I know to be true? If I'm going to choose conviction over comfort, how do I steward what it is I believe the Spirit of God is telling me or leading me to, and choose it over taking the comfort road or what's comfortable? Okay, so stewardship is my word. But the thing about it is, one word lived out consistently will do more than 10 goals written down. And here's why. Because if I have 10 goals, like Craig Rochelle says, and I don't focus on what matters more, which is the character of who we're becoming, not just the thing we're achieving, then it's kind of, again, it doesn't necessarily become the best option. However, I think that the interesting thing is I accomplish my goals, but if I didn't grow in character and I don't recognize it, man, that's, I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say it's dangerous. I don't want to say it's a slippery slope, but it would be almost a unhealthy practice and an unawareness or maybe deception, because it's like being a bazillionaire and having incredibly horrible character. It's, and again, I'm not, if you're a bazillionaire, that's amazing, but who I am matters more than the amount of money I have. And so remember that the one word lived out consistently will do more than 10 goals or all your goals, probably you could write down in a lifetime, or that I could write down in a lifetime. And so when we think about this, I like what John Gordon talks about. John Gordon, again, another amazing speaker and author who has worked with some incredible sports teams in the NFL and college. Look him up if you're not familiar with him. But John Gordon talks about this often too, about focusing on the difference between drift and direction. And if there's not, and this is why I wanted to come back to what I was thinking about with our families, because drift and direction, it is so easy to drift, so easy. I think about kind of like if you've ever been whitewater rafting or even just a regular general river, not just got to be whitewater rafting. There's a current. So you are going with the flow. You are maybe going in the generally right direction. But if you don't pay attention and just let yourself drift wherever, you might hit a rock, you might hit a log, you might hit a set of rapids that are undesirable, that could be dangerous and cause bodily harm, literally. So the idea of drift and direction is extremely huge to recognize the difference. And what I've found to be true is that people who drift into a year get pulled by circumstance. What do I mean by that? I mean, I can have the best intentions, write down my goals and say, this is what I want to do. But because I can't foresee circumstance and what's going to happen, then I let that become the determining factor for my ability to then stay on course, to stay aligned, to use the one word to help me stay in a healthy direction, right? People who enter a year with clarity get anchored. See, clarity helps us stay anchored. It always gives us a starting point. So if I feel like, man, I feel like I'm getting off, I always have somewhere to come back to and say, wait, does this align with, insert your word, does this align with what it is I'm wanting to actually become as far as the person we're becoming? So maybe your word is truth, right? Because you're done avoiding what convicts you, right? Instead of having that convict you and then not choosing truth and moving in that direction, you're actually going to choose truth. Maybe it's restoration or restore, because your home, let's just say you want to rebuild. You want to create a stronger foundation within the four walls in your marriage, in your family, in the home. Maybe it's presence. Okay, listen, presence can be so hard for me sometimes, not because I'm trying to not be present. There's just a lot of things that I tend to think about, and sometimes so subconsciously that I have to realize, oh shoot, I'm not paying attention to the conversation at hand or the person that's right in front of me or whatever it may be. And so I'm not trying to do it purposefully, but maybe presence because you want to give yourself healthily full attention to the person or the situation right in front of you, instead of letting your mind, like me, get way over here sometimes. Okay, maybe it's obedience. Ugh, that's a tough one. See, because God keeps prompting you to move, to make a decision, to do something that's in your belly, it's in your heart, you know it's there. And so he's saying, hey, your word's obedience, because he wants you to trust him and obey by taking an action step of faith to do the thing he's calling you to do. Maybe it's peace. That should be all of our word, right? We should all want peace, but because you're done letting chaos or anxiety rule your world, rule your life, rule your home. And here's the thing I want to just bring to the surface of this podcast, this conversation. I guess it's not a conversation because I'm talking to you, you're not talking to me, but it doesn't have to be one word. That word can change. It's not to say don't have more than one, but at least have one, right? And you'll recognize by having that one word, right? It can filter into all the rest, right? Mine's stewardship. So what if I put that to all of them? I want to steward truth well. I want to steward bringing restoration into my home well. I want to steward presence in my conversations and in my relationships with people. I want to steward being an obedient servant to God, to the things He's called me to do. I want to steward peace in my life well. So it doesn't necessarily mean none of the other words apply. It just means pick one, right? It's having kind of a reframed mindset. And here's the kingdom truth I want us to sit with, okay? Is because revival doesn't start, or achieving our goals don't start when circumstances improve. They just don't, right? It starts when alignment begins. But if we don't have vision for something to be aligned to, then it's really tough, and circumstances will tend to dictate what we do. So again, it starts with alignment. And alignment doesn't mean perfection, by the way. Just take that and throw it away. Too often we think things got to be perfectly set up or in place in order to start. So alignment doesn't mean perfection. It does, though, require what I think is one of the most difficult things sometimes is decision, making a decision and doing it with intention. We have to be intentional about what we do. It's easy to write it down. It's easy to say, I want something. It's easy to say, I'm going to shoot for this goal. I'm going to go for this milestone. Awesome, do it. But it requires intention. So that one word can help you be more intentional, right? Only one word can become the foundation for everything God wants to build in your life this year. And the truth is, it's not just one word, but have at least one word and sit in it. Take time. Don't just pick one. Ask God what He wants that word to be for you. Because when the home is aligned, when we're aligned with what God is calling us to, everything else, not perfectly, not without trials, not without storms, but it does fall into place according to God's plans, not yours, not mine. And so ask God, what is the one word? And if I can invite you into something, it's that, is to sit in the quiet, in the moment of maybe wrestling or trying to figure out what it's going to be. But pray if you pray. Ask Him, God, what's the one word? And don't rush this. Don't overthink it either, okay? Ask God, what word keeps surfacing for you? What does, you could ask yourself these questions. What does my marriage need most right now? What does my home need to be anchored in this year? Write it down. Carry it with you. Let it guide your decisions. And when I say let it guide you, of course you're picking a word, but I mean let the Spirit of God lead you into 2026 with clarity, but with vision for not just your preferred future, but for what God has already predestined and called you to, that maybe we've been avoiding. Maybe we've been afraid to take that step of faith. Pick the word He gives you and rest in it. Find peace in it. Because this isn't about hype. Again, it's not about pressure. It's not about just doing what we do in New Year's. No, it's about being in alignment with what God has called us to. And it's about being faithful to the word He shows you, to the one direction, 1 year of intentional alignment in everything you're doing. And I believe that one word could become the catalyst for everything God is calling you into in 2026. Because again, revival doesn't start with resolutions. No, it starts with one word, being intentional, asking God, and then aligning with His purpose and His plan for your life in 2026. You guys, listen, I appreciate you being here today. As always, if you would like to connect on a deeper level, hey, all the links are in the show notes within this podcast, and you can click on those links to take you to our free weekly email, our Kingdom Family Movement Reset email we send out every Monday to your inbox. It is free. So, hey, take advantage of that. And listen, if you want to follow me on socials, that's here below. And then if you are just in a season where you know, because this is what Kingdom Family Movement is all about. Is it about helping marriages and families in the home become restored and aligned with what God is calling them to do? And sometimes you just feel like you're in a drift. Maybe you feel like you're so far beyond, a place of being able to just get grounded. Listen, sign up for a free coaching call. I'd love to take the time to hear where you're at, listen, speak some life into you, and see if the coaching program we offer might be a good fit for you. You guys, as always, Kingdom Family Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velazquez, and we will see you on the other side. Peace.
God forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it, because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.